Hello, Rise and Thrivers. We are in the second or the first Monday of October. I don't even know anymore. No, we are in the first Monday of October of 2024. It is 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am Regina Rossi Lemoth, and I am with my awesome co-host and dear friend, Dr. Raquel Stewart. Super pumped. I'm one of those people that get pumped for like numbers. It is episode 75. Dun, 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 dun. If we had all that really cool music, we're getting there, right? Sponsor us. Sponsor us. Episode 75. Super excited for a whole new month, a whole new theme, and we're starting that out powerfully with episode 75. So as we are on right now, let's talk about Rise and Thrive together. We are a community committed to educate and empower and equip you to get the results that you want through real talk, real actions, and then you'll get the results that you want. So I am just going to jump right into it. Welcome, sis. I know you're tired, but you are looking mighty beautiful with that hair of yours. And I really want to take a moment, man, and celebrate episode 75 consistently, girl, consistently.
I know. Hey, Rise and Thrivers. I couldn't believe that it was episode 75 already. Like, that's super awesome. I really couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what you give for a 75, but it's not an anniversary, it's just an episode. But it's still cool to be here with you and celebrating with all of our listeners and to all of our guests who've been with us from the beginning and right through. It's so incredible. I do want to say, give a shout out to one of our guests. Dr. Dan. You guys remember Dr. Dan? He is he has his doctorate in acupuncture and Chinese medicine. He has the Chi Up Academy. We received an email from him, and now he has merch. What?
Ooh, we
He's
got merch.
yes, he's selling merch. He's got shirts, hoodies, hats. Um, and the hats says if you can smile, you can heal. And he's got the knit hats. I don't know why he in Cali. I don't know nothing about no knit hat. But anyway, he got knit hats. He got a baseball cap. He has a water bottle. Oh my gosh, talk about growing. I just had to just give Dr. Dan and Avienne a big shout out to Chi Academy. They're doing incredible things within their community, and now they're selling merch. So it's awesome. They're selling CBD gummies. It's so cool. I love it. I love it. I love it. So big shout out to Dr. Dan. We've got to have him back on so that we can talk about this addition to his business. I think that's so incredible.
Well, I love it because it goes perfectly what we're going to start for this whole new month, guys. You know, each month, Raquel and I spend some time together, look at an overall arching theme, and then we've got like a topic, for that particular episode. And then we bring some guests on to kind of enhance that and grow that. So you said growth, which is really interesting, sis, because, that's what we're talking about. So we're in the fall season, and in fall, no matter where you are, I'm here in Florida, South Florida. Raquel's in Jersey. We have trees. They may be different types of trees, but we have trees. So no matter what, grew up in Long Island, know Jersey well, you get to that point where the leaves start falling off, right?
Mhm.
Here in Florida, we have a lot of palm trees. The palms fall off. And we are in a very important season of fall. Although it starts June 1st, the most heaviest amount of hurricane season is between September and November. And here we are in the crux of October, guys. So last week, we had a massive hurricane that hit the other side of Florida and then devastated Asheville, North Carolina, devastated parts of Georgia. Over 200 people have unfortunately perished in that, 75 people still missing, and people are still waiting for electricity and all of that. Devastating. Well, we are in our second hurricane in 1 week. That was Hurricane Helene. We are in Hurricane Milton, which is out to hit landfall to Florida again. in the Tampa, Orlando area. If you believe in anything, please pray, because in a heartbeat that can shift. So, as much as we are here in the other side of the state, we're talking about pruning this month. Pruning. And the one thing I'm going to bring that up is why I'm saying that our trees have to be pruned, right? We are pruning that to clear obstacles out of the way that can cause devastation and destruction, from our buildings, from our homes, to even physically. So I really was like passionate to talk about this fall season. So Sis said something about, the art of pruning, which came to me when you said that. You were talking about Dr. Dan, and it's cultivating also growth in
Mm.
your life. Pruning has that opportunity to provide growth. So shout out to Dr. Dan again. And tonight we're going to just talk about really that topic of pruning and pruning that path, clearing those obstacles in your life, in your mind, in your business, in your communities, in your relationships to help you find the way. So here we are in fall. So, like, fall is a big time to, like, kind of reflect back. So,
Hmm.
sis, that's where we're at. We're in that fall season, reflecting that last 3 quarters of the year has gone by, guys. 3 quarters. We
Wow.
got this last,
Wow.
right? We're that last quarter. So many of us, Raquel and I, are entrepreneurs. We're in business. We also have our side hustles as well that bring in extra income. But we're like looking at really reflecting. So let's reflect on, and I'm asking you guys, our listeners, taking a moment of reflecting, where are some of those areas, right, that you want to prune to help provide growth? If you're an entrepreneur or in your own business or you're working for a company, what is that? And sis, I'm going to just throw that out to you, because usually you're the one taking that. She gave me the steering wheel today and I'm driving it, and I'm asking you, I know you got a lot going on. You and I talk often. So there's a lot of pruning going on. Look how clear like her background is. What's happening? What do you want to share with the listeners? What do you hear about that, from the art of pruning to cultivate growth to the art of pruning to clear that path and help you find the way?
I love the question. Let me say this. Pruning is not easy. It really isn't, but anything worth having is not easy. It doesn't come easy. It requires work. And part of the work is pruning. Right now I am in the middle of a move to make another move. I'm taking steps to get to my house in South Carolina. And so I've got to move from where I am to my mom's house, from my mom's house, then to South Carolina. And let me tell you, it's not an easy journey. One, moving sucks, right? Having to pack up, that
Real
absolutely
talk.
sucks.
Real talk.
But it is, for me, let me say, for me, some people enjoy it. I absolutely do not, but I am someone that moves. And it was actually, let me just say this, it was brought to my attention by a friend of mine the other day. And he told me, he was like, well, you move like every 3 years. And I'm like, what? No, I don't. And I thought back and I was like, oh my gosh, I think he might be right. So it's about time for me to move. And so when he said it, what it brought up for me was, what does the number three mean? And so I looked it up, and it means completeness.
Ooh.
So I took that to mean that wherever I am in 3 years, that part is complete. And now it's time to move on again to whatever God has next for me. Now, I may not
Mm.
always like that moving next. However, if I am a Christian and I follow God's leading, and so if he's leading me there, I have to do it. But again, pruning is not easy. It is, sometimes it's painstaking. It really and truly can be. And that's why often we don't see the necessity in pruning, and not just pruning our trees, and because I grow stuff in my apartment. I grow tomatoes that I do not eat. I grow them for others to enjoy. And so I do have to prune off the dead leaves. And a friend of mine brought it to my attention. Again, my friends are popping up. They were like, be mindful how you don't just pull the leaves off because that causes the plant pain. You should prune it with shears. And I'm like, oh, okay then. And so that's what I do. I get the shears and I prune it away, but it's not easy. But pruning causes more growth. It makes space for other things. We get so occupied with what we have and holding on to what we have that we wonder why we don't get anything new, anything different, things that we really want. It's because you're holding on to the old things that you got to let go of. It's time. The expiration date has come. There's a reason things have expiration dates, like milk. You ever kept milk longer, way longer than the expiration date, and then you tried to go and have cereal, and it's all clumpy? That's happened to me. That means I held on for too long. I should have let that go a long time ago. I should have pruned it, and that sometimes that means pruning people out of your life, things, places, and save room for and declutter is what it comes down to. It's time for us to declutter our life because as we move into the winter season is one that's often barren. When you look at the trees, they're not beautiful anymore, right? They're not
Nope.
those beautiful colored leaves. It's barren. It's a time for us to start storing some stuff for us to move into the next season. So when you talk about pruning, I'm like, yeah, I'm being pruned now. It's not an easy process, but it's a necessary process. And I get that. And sometimes my mindset slips back to, oh my gosh, it's not easy. And I'm giving up my space. And it's like, yeah, but you have to give up something in order to get something better. And so when I get in that mindset, it shifts my behavior.
It even
Does that
changed
make
your
sense?
body language. In 2 seconds, it changed your body language.
Yeah.
You know,
Ask her. We were behind the scenes, right? And I was like, huh.
yeah, but the minute you got that, so here's something really beautiful that you brought up that I want to bring out to the listeners. And hey, listeners, I know you're on there. Anything that like you want to say about this topic, put it in the chat. We are going to put it up there. You know what I mean? Hal's already here because Hal Eisenberg's ready to jump on to have this conversation in a few
Oh, we've
minutes.
got somebody joining.
Yep. But let me just finish this up before we get Hal on. Here's the thing. You got some comments, put it on there. What I loved what you said, sis, because behind the scenes she was definitely like, she already was in communication. That's one thing that we love about each other. We're in communication. We are in integrity. 75 shows consistently, always, every Monday night. Now, you said in the beginning it was super hard. Thank you, Anita. Super, super hard with regards to the pruning. It was like, it was hard. And then you said the beautiful analogy of your friend talking about the shears, right?
Mm.
Along the way, it can occur as hard. It can seem really, really hard. Because if we are not taking care of that along the way, the pruning, we tend to, let's be honest, how many of us, and I will raise my hand throughout my life, I wait until the last minute, right? So we're in fall season, we're right before hurricane season, and then everybody comes, coming in. So sis might have, and I'm just not saying it's the truth, but might have waited, right? Sometimes things happen last minute and it becomes a little bit harder. She's got a lot going on. I got a lot going on. But when we don't take that time carefully and start really organizing ourselves, really organizing, I know my taxes are due. I know this episode's coming up. I know I'm out to do a new class. So I've got to work on all of those things, choreos. I've got a new client and I've got to work on, I have ways and strategies to do that. I'm particular in my calendar and time in and time off on working on each one. But life happens. And so I would say that I wasn't using the shears when it occurs as hard, right? I'm like literally pulling it because I'm in overwhelm. I'm in like last minute mode. And that's what I'm just saying for myself when we wait upon that last minute. And that is happening around me, like literally physically You have to see people. I mean, how many of you guys have gone through storms and they're like, you go and you run? I think we all in the United States had a moment where, what did they say? I think the trucking industry was going on strike.
Mm.
So if you didn't know, lucky because you were in like this sort of bubble, like it's good, like you were safe shears. But like the conversation was trucking was happening. Yeah, like I just was amazed when I woke up and looked on TikTok and looked everywhere to see like people running for toilet paper.
Again.
What's up about toilet paper? Whatever, I get it. You want some cleanliness, but like seriously, the shelves were done. Shelves were done. People couldn't find it. People were like online selling $75 for a roll of toilet paper.
Wow.
Just saying. But, and then boom, the strike ended. Boom. That's last minute. So, same with us, right? We're here in the process of a hurricane. And I was telling, Rock behind the scenes, we're one of those people where we've been, 13 years, we've been there. This year, like this time, 2 in a row in a week. We got the gas in the car, the water, like the things we need. We're taking those shears carefully and intentionally. What is the worst thing that's going to happen? We are prepared. We are prepared. So pruning is super helpful. Now there's new growth. And I've got to say, in this short, and I'm talking like in a week of like just being from one to another and a lot of stuff happening, so many new opportunities opened up for me. Like, so, and I'm not focusing on the business, but I'm taking care and getting rid of and preparing for, like what she's saying, that barren time, having everything ready. And I'm getting phone calls. I was literally on a call. 4 people called me all at once. Rarely doesn't happen like all at once. And they were all opportunities. So, it's really providing growth for me in so many areas of my business, some really great partnering and collaboration. And with that being said, we have one of our favorite people who are huge supporters of Rise and Thrive Together. Coming on his 5th time, that jacket is coming to you, Hal Eisenberg.
He's trying to get a jacket. He's trying to get a jacket. We know how. We know.
You know
Hey,
what's
Hal.
really funny?
What?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I am so excited to be here, but like only for you ladies. I'm on like I don't know, I think this is my 16th hour working straight. I just walked in the house and I jumped on. And I jumped on because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I was on your 50th episode. So there was no way I was missing episode number 75.
Wow.
So like that's just the universe aligning. The universe isn't pruning me out of your lives. You're stuck with me.
You're a staple. You're a staple.
I love this conversation. I'm just gonna jump in and throw in a nugget.
Yeah.
I saw this quote, Raquel, this week, and it was making me think about you moving and everything. And this is not verbatim. I might get the quote wrong, but you'll get the gist. It was something about how fall is a beautiful season because the leaves are falling, and it shows us how beautiful letting go is.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh.
Wow.
which I
Well,
really,
like,
and everyone was like, "Oh, what are they smelling?" Which I love that quote, right? And then I sat with
Mm.
that, and I was like, that's so true. Like we align or we think that letting go has got to be this painful process, but if we shift our perspective, it can be something beautiful. Might take a little bit of work because letting go isn't easy, but it is very, very beautiful. And just the act of moving, I love moving because I get rid of a bunch of stuff that I'm like, why do I still have this? You know, I'm like, I really like the idea of being a minimalist. I don't need all this
Yes.
stuff, right?
But
So
see,
moving gives you
I
that
am.
opportunity.
I don't have a lot of stuff. I don't. For that very reason. I'm the one that'll pick up and be like, "Hey, sis, I'm gonna be doing the show, but it'll be whatever time because I'm going back to China to live or something crazy." Like people expect that of me, and
absolutely.
I they do. I do not have a problem. That's why I can't keep a lot of stuff. But I love, love, love that quote. Can you say it again so I
Please.
can
So
put it here?
I'm probably, if everybody rewinds, I'm going to probably say a different quote now. The season of fall is beautiful because when the leaves are falling, it shows you how beautiful letting go is. right?
Wow.
You know, yeah. You know, and it's so funny. Like I read that quote, and then I was driving to work, and I was like thinking about my life because I'm always processing, right? Like when you do this work, when you do this self-development work, it's not just like, oh yeah, I heard that, great. You know, you really have to spend every day like trying to
Yes.
be the best version. Pruning is about being the best version of yourself, you know? And then I saw
Mm.
the leaves falling from the tree, and it was like a reminder. And I just sat there and I was like, wow, this is really beautiful. And not only is that beautiful, the work that I'm doing on myself is beautiful. Like, so we
Mm.
need to take a moment to celebrate where we're at, no matter if you're stuck, if you're tripping, if you're don't know what the next step is, you got the shears, you're pruning, like give yourself some credit and props.
Wow. I love that. And it's exciting, right? Not knowing the next step. For some people, some people will panic like all get up if they don't know. They need that certainty in their life. I'm not really that person who needs certainty. And I've realized that. I thought I was. And life happens and showed me, no, you're not. Stop it.
Hmm.
No one picks up and just moves. Yes, it was for a job, but you went halfway around the world. No one just picks up and moves. My mom and I had a conversation like maybe 2 months ago, and then I got in action and started this whole process of moving and packing up. And it's like, don't be like me, boys and girls. Sometimes I do not think before I act. I act and I'm like, listen, I'm trusting God. Put the wings on
Yeah,
my back and let me go. And most times that's how I am. And I realized that. And God has kept me every single time because He's like, this girl right here, she touched. So
that's right.
let me help her because she just pick up and go. If it's not for you, it's not for you. This is me. But
Yeah,
I kind of like that because I was talking to one of my students, and I just got to throw this in there, talking about pruning away and pruning away thinking too. She is a psych major, but she also wants to do acting. And she's like, but that's so far removed and so far fetched. And I'm like, oh, it is? Huh. I said, listen, I don't care what you're studying, what your field is, area of expertise. You have skills that you're learning in that area. Those are the skills that you take and they can transfer anywhere else. And I had to look up the guy, I don't know his name. He's the Asian guy. He was in that movie, The Hangover.
oh,
And
from the
I,
Masked Singer.
the who?
He's on the Masked
Oh,
Singer.
maybe. I don't watch that, but might be. But I said, look him up and tell me what his profession was. And she looked, she's like, he was a doctor. I was like, he's a medical doctor. And he walked away from that to do something that he loved. He's always wanted to do. And he went to acting. I don't remember his name, but I know he was in the movie, several movies. But the one I remember is The Hangover. I think it's called The
I
Hangover.
got
Look
him.
him
I got his
Ken
name.
Ken
Hold on.
Jong.
Just can't stop it.
him. And I said,
I
look
do
at
not.
him. I
We're not
said,
on
so
Jeopardy.
do that. Listen, if you want it and you love it, why not go after it? What's the worst thing that can happen? You don't have a life of regret saying, I wish I had. You've done it. You can now change your conversation to, I did that, or I'm doing that now. And I told her, go hang out with some theater people. Go hang out and just hang out with them, hear their story, and maybe that'll encourage you. And she was like, oh my gosh, people have told me that before, but they've never said it the way you did. I said, it's time for you to start pruning away. I didn't say pruning, but now I can. That way of thinking that's so far beyond you. No, it's not. I said, look at what I named people. I was like, Whoopi Goldberg. I think she used to like dress the corpse. Didn't she like do their makeup or something? I'm like, all these people who did something and they could have still been doing that, but they took a risk. And if you are not willing to take a risk on yourself, then why should anyone else? It's time to prune away that stinking thinking. Put that stinking thinking somewhere else. But I digress. Go ahead.
No, but it all goes perfectly. It just goes back how when you jumped in, it was like almost verbatim, like going back to that what we were saying the show. I'm now got the visual, and Raquel and I talk about this often, guys, that we're visual people. So I have that tree, I have those leaves. It makes me think of even snowflakes. When you're talking about, when people get so tunnel visioned. Like this is I want to do this, but I'm this. You know, we are all individuals with so many beautiful, think about DNA layers in us, so much. There's not one thing that is similar, just like that tree. A leaf may look as similar as possible, but they're different. So when you take that time, when we were speaking about earlier about like reflecting, really like in the fall of taking a reflection of, you know, who am I? What do I, love? What haven't I really enjoyed doing personally this year or in my business, or in whatever that may be? Really, like Hal said, taking that time to do the work. This
Mhm.
is, you can listen to this show right now and get a lot of insights, and that's awesome. More power to you. We want to give you that information, right? We're about empowering and educating and equipping you. But like, you can take this and walk away and it's another piece of like insight, or you can take and walk away and start reflecting on some of this work and really doing whatever that work is for you. We all have our own strategies and tips around it. Hal and I are similar in the fact of journaling. We like to journal things and all of that. Raquel likes to like speak it out loud, have her really like listen to what she's saying, and then she reflects. And I play around with a lot of those strategies. I've gone back and forth. And then you can start pruning away, like, especially once you say it out loud and then you have it in paper and pen. And then you can look through that again, another layer, and say, what is working? What is it? What are the common themes? What are the common, when Raquel talks about shifting, limiting beliefs, you'll see those words, guys, those words that are like, oh, well, I can't, or I
Mm.
won't, those low vibrational words. And then you'll see those ones that are like, I have and I will, and all of those. So you can start reflecting, pruning out those, words like, oh, I can't, oh, it'll never happen to me, like all of those things. But that again is work. Again, you can be aware of it, but then planting it, right? Like planting it, like Raquel's saying, into that like winter season and really holding on to that and doing that work. So I really love this. How I'm grateful you like jumped on. I think it's, amazing because you're always bring that richness, right? That richness. I don't know if you heard us earlier, but it was like you're those special shears that help us prune. You really are. You have a very special, way about you that just enriches, enlivens the conversation and deepens it. So I just wanted to acknowledge you in front of everybody.
Thank
Yay.
you. I just want to say to everybody that I really feel limitations are an illusion, right?
Mm.
And I feel like and this is a much deeper conversation for another show, but I feel like we were conditioned to believe that these limitations exist, right? Maybe it's based on childhood wounds or past messages that you got. But the truth of the matter is when you actually dive in and you do that self-development work, and you learn how to go with the flow, you'll see that you can, actually create anything that you want in this world is possible. And there are millions and millions of examples of people looking at other people in society and going, I don't know how they do that without two arms or without two legs. And, because limitation's an illusion, right? Anything you want is possible. You just have to choose it. You have to claim it. And then you have to work toward it.
Yep.
Wow.
That is awesome. I love
You
it. I
know,
love
when you talked about not having the limbs, that speaker came to me. His name is Nick, and he's got that long last name. I'm not even gonna try to butcher that because that's just a tongue twister for me. He has a torso,
Oh, yeah. I'm going to look him up. Oh, my
no
gosh.
legs, a
Yes.
torso. I think he has arms. Dude is married. He is an international speaker, motivational speaker. He is absolutely phenomenal. If you've never heard him speak, dude, this guy is absolutely incredible. And he did not let the fact that he was born without legs stop him from going out there and getting into beast mode, because he is straight in beast mode.
So
Absolutely incredible.
I'm
Talk
gonna
about
write his
no limits.
name. Oh, wait, Chrissy just said, wait, thanks, Chrissy, for coming on. Chrissy's right here. I know who you're talking about. And Chrissy, yep, I'm going to put his name in here because everybody, like everybody has to. I mean, we don't often say, hey, um, go do this. But I am going to make a strong request, guys, to go and listen to him. And he has no arms, sis, um, and legs. I mean, it's amazing. So here we go. Boom. We're gonna get his name right up there. Shout out to Nick, and I'm gonna say the same thing, Nick Vujic, and I don't know how to say it. And if you're watching, if anybody knows him, seriously, this would be an honor and a privilege to have someone like him, because that is like for all of us. We can all have, I'm clear if you raise your hand right now to say, I can't, like Hal was saying, I can't, I won't. When he says
Mm-hmm.
anything is possible, I
Mm-hmm.
right away went to like, well, I like how, like, go to be an astronaut or like president of the United States. And then I had to shut up because I was like, I didn't even try. Like I could, like I haven't even tried. I haven't even had a conversation. I haven't done anything, right? Like I've end of it. So who am I to like turn around and say I can't, right? When I haven't even done anything. But that's how quickly we are wired as human beings. Like you're not alone.
Yes.
I will not um, at all ever say that I can't, whatever. That is such the big part of limiting belief, but that would be super, super awesome. If anybody knows him, and thank you, Chrissy, for being here. If there's anything else you want to share, Chrissy's been a long time. I want to take a moment. We like gave a big shout out before to Dr. Dan, but I've known Chrissy for a really, really long time. Hal knows Chrissy too. Raquel does too. I'm going to just take a moment because in the world of fall, we're in celebration and acknowledgement. So, Chrissy, you've been a longtime friend. You have been a longtime Rise and Thrive supporter. And we just want to thank you. Thank you for showing up. We have a personal group, guys. If you're interested in getting into it, it's called Rise and Thrive Together Community. Look us up. We will let you in. And oh my God, we got a vet. This is like, oh my God, I'm so excited, guys. This is amazing. We got like celebrity people everywhere. We got Hal, we got Chrissy, and now we got a vet. So yeah, this is amazing, Chrissy. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being such an amazing human being. We'd love to have you on the show. Love to, she's a wise, incredible teacher, an incredible human being. And Yvette, you too. Yvette, shout out. Thanks for coming on, Yvette. We love you. And you got some brilliance, girl. You and Raquel, forget it, Yvette. Like, I mean, Raquel, you got to meet Yvette one day. The two of you, it's like having my two bookends of incredible, empowering women. You can't go anywhere without them. All right. Nick has a wife and children. Yes. Anita, he does. You know who Anita is, everybody? We're just taking it like off the trail a little bit. It's Raquel's mom. She's awesome. We love Anita. I
Cheers.
worked with Anita. I worked with Anita more than I worked with Raquel. I like knew Anita like way longer and didn't even realize it was Raquel's mother. Like, right? I think I knew your mom like way for a long time before I was like, it was you. Anyway, as I digress, come back on. Yes, super inspirational. So, like Hal says, bringing it all together, there is nothing we cannot do. It is a choice. It's a
Absolutely.
powerful one, and it does take work. Back to like what Raquel says. We don't just sit here and go. Praying is important and totally with her about God, but there's work. And if you really listen to your heart, God's going to tell you what to do. So,
And people talk about faith and having faith, and they sit and wait on God. I was like, that is not what faith is. Faith is an action word. You have to do something. Every single thing that you want to do, you want to accomplish, it's already in you. It's already there. There's nothing you have to do other than tap into it. God has given us every single thing that we need, every single thing that we want. We are fully equipped. We just need to tap into it. Does that make sense? So stop sitting there and wanting and wishing and hoping and praying and hoping and hoping and hoping when God is like, all I need you to do is get up and do something.
Yep.
It's not going to come to you just because you're pretty. It's not
Well,
going to
no.
happen that way. You have to get up and do something.
Love it.
Believe in yourself. Find a community. Reg is always talking about community. Find the community. You want to know how to start pruning? Reach out to any of us and we can tell you how to start pruning. And please don't think none of us here don't prune. You just heard me talk about pruning and Reg talk about pruning and how just he said he's pruning all the time. It doesn't stop. Self growth, this growth industry does not stop. You're always learning unless you're dead. And then you learn stillness. And I'm not trying to make fun of it in any way, but that's the only time you stop learning, you stop growing, you stop doing. Don't ever lose that inner child that wants to have fun, because I find a lot of people when they prune that inner child away, the one that wants them to have fun. They take adulthood so
Yes.
seriously. Let's start bringing some fun back into our lives. You want to prune some stuff away? Prune that whole you're holding on to something, resentment, the whatever it is. It's time to let that go. And notice my pause. Let, let that go. It is not serving you and it never will. So you want to prune that. Prune that
Yeah.
out of your life.
I love that. That's the part of what what we were talking about, which is like taking that moment and like again, I'm going to ask you what brings you joy. How many of us like stop and really think about like what is bringing me joy? Oh my God, Chrissy! Like I was just stopping. Chrissy did something now. I think she meant new, but it might say now. She did something now new, which is she has 3 jobs. 3 jobs.
Wow,
That's
that's so
amazing.
fantastic.
So there's the growth right there for Chrissy. I've known Chrissy
Can
for a
you,
long
Chrissy,
time.
tell us what 3 jobs you have? We'd love to hear what 3 jobs. I mean, I'm teaching at one, two, soon to be 3 schools,
Yep.
and but still working on my book, my New York Times best-selling book, because that's what's
I
going to
cannot
happen with
wait.
that book. Now,
Yep.
I'm loving it. I'm loving, and I just want to have fun. We all just want to have fun. Hal is sitting quiet. Don't sleep on Hal. Hal has got some nuggets he's about to lay on us, and just have Reg and I
It
like,
is. It's going to
wow,
drop us as we get.
because that's what he
Look,
does.
we're
But
going to
Hal
wrap
is
it.
getting busy. Hal, speaking of which, Hal, next book, where is it? When is it?
Well, we're saving that for the October
We're going to
28th.
save that. I'm going to make
Oh,
a
we're gonna save
surprise
that.
visit October 28th.
So sorry, I didn't say anything. Rewind. Okay, we're gonna talk about it then. Gotcha.
We'll be on
But I
officially again the 28th.
But
absolutely love it,
I will say, go ahead.
guys. The choice is yours, right? We can sit here all night and talk about pruning away.
Oh, Rack, you got some.
Prune away, prune all the stuff, meaning sometimes it's people that people there's parts to a plane. Now, I'm not going to get all 4, but there are 4 parts to a plane. There's the weight, the drag, the lift, and thrust. You get to choose which one of those 4 you want to be. You also get to choose which one of those 4 you want in your life. You want to prune away the ones that weigh you down and drag you down. But that's just me. I don't have time for people who do that. I prune them out immediately.
All right, let's bring it off to Hal. What you got saying that you've heard, Raquel?
I just want to throw this in because I think everything that you're both saying is absolutely beautiful and absolutely amazing. What I love to what I've learned in my journey also, which took me a while and I'm still cultivating it, but really, in addition to all of that, creating a practice of gratitude. And when I say
Mm-hmm.
gratitude, it's not even looking and being grateful for the things that are beautiful, the things that are working. It's also being grateful while you're pruning for the things that aren't working, right? We
Mm.
get frustrated with the negatives in our lives. We get frustrated with this person pissed us off, or this thing isn't working out, or whatever conversation you're having in your head that's like, oh, I'm not going to get this dream. I'm not going to be able to move forward, right? It's taking that second and being like, that taking that deep breath and be like, wow, I'm really grateful for this contrast. I'm really grateful for this negative, because this negative is going to help shape my positive. It's going to help shape my path. This isn't working, you know, that saying, Raquel, we're talking about God before, like, if you want to make God laugh, tell him what your plans are, you know. So it's like, I'm going to get my goal, but I'm going right, and God's like, nah, you're going left.
You're
We're still going to
right.
get you to your goal, but you're going left instead of right, right? But being grateful for that, being grateful
Mm.
for getting clarity, because the negatives give us more clarity, and that's what you want. So that I work on that part every day as well.
I love it. And, it works so beautifully what Chrissy was just sharing. So, Raquel asked the question, and Chrissy said she works for a nonprofit, um, Read Better BB Read Better, I think it is, Sylvan tutor and teacher. And I think this really hones in how what you were talking about. She decided I need to get out of the school system, but stay in education, right? So we start with we think we start with what we love, right? Raquel and I are on that path too, right? In the world of social service, in the world of making a difference and helping people. And she got her degree and her doctorate, and I got my license and my master's degree, and we did what everybody does, right? We kind of go, nothing wrong, but like, listen, we are wired to, I like to call them, for those who listen to us often, inherited conversations. It's just passed down. You get a job, whatever that is, whatever it is. Some of us do the job because that's what our family did. We were lucky to go and find something that hit us, went to school for that, and then got a job. Now, Raquel is not, in a nonprofit and doing that anymore, and neither am I. Right. The fact is, but we still are very, like Chrissy is. She's no longer in a system that doesn't work for her. She pruned that out of her life. We both chose powerfully to prune out of our life that we no longer are going to, work for nonprofit. That doesn't mean that we are not supporting and volunteering and all of those things. And I sit on the board of House, a nonprofit, but we get to still be who we are about making a difference and educating and empowering and doing the things in the way that serves us, and in a way, like you said, that every single time, if you stop and really listen, whatever is whispered in my ear, through God. I mean, I talk, Josh is walking in and out, like, and he always can read my face. That's my husband. And he'll just be like, oh, wait, what's new now? Because just when you think, like you, sis, about moving, right? She's going here. And then the next thing you know, she's off to China. It's the same thing. Like, oh, this is where wait, what are you doing next now? And I'm like, oh, yeah. Like, remember that conversation? Boop. It's now over here. Oh, she's
Absolutely.
like, Rissy's loving it. She says, I'm working so much, but it's worth so much because it's more fulfilling. Like,
Nice.
right? Like, come on. That's Chrissy. I'm so thrilled for you. Like, your story, something want to be told if you want to come on, Chrissy, because I think definitely minimal. How, I'm going to say it. He's got a great podcast about, literally reforming the education system. There's your perfect guest.
Absolutely. How I love what you said about not always the some of the things that happen in our lives that are less than favorable, less than what we want or
Yeah.
need. A lot of those situations and circumstances helped me to carve out who I am today. And without those quote unquote negative things that happened, I wouldn't be who I am. And it's how you see them, it's your perception and how you think about them, and the story you tell, and
Yep.
how you tell that story. And most of the things that did not go right in my life created who I am, because it caused me to think differently. It put me in a position where I needed to change how I was thinking. because how I was thinking was not working for me. And so that situation caused me, you don't like this situation. Now, how are you going to get out of it? Because you can't think the same way. You can't think the same way to solve a problem. You have to come above it in order to solve the problem so you can get a bird's eye view of it. So I absolutely agree with you, Hal. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
It's my pleasure, and I feel like you nailed it right on the head, Raquel. I feel like this is really the journey of love, right? It's really the journey back to loving yourself. So when you're doing this work and when you're doing this pruning, you're actually learning to love the things that you hold against yourself. I made this
Mm.
mistake, I made this problem. And it's sometimes it's really ingrained in you. It's really like deep in your subconscious where, you know, I don't like myself. I don't like how I act. I don't like the way I look in the mirror. Whatever the story is, right? And doing this work and doing this pruning and going on this journey, you learn to shift that perspective. You learn
Hmm.
to embrace those moments and say, you know what, those were all beautiful too, right? So yeah, they weren't mistakes. They were experiences, right? And those experiences help shape who I am today. And that's an important distinction. And I just want to say to Chrissy, first of all, Chrissy, I totally 100% want you on our podcast. I don't know why we haven't even done that yet. We'd love to have you as a guest. And I don't know, I'll get this for the next show. I don't know the exact statistic, but there was a study done um, with all these like multi-million dollar executives, and something like 70% of them said that they would give up their millions for doing a more fulfilling job. That like when you have that much money, it's not about the money anymore. It's really about fulfilling like who you are.
Mm.
So I think what Chrissy is doing is amazing, and I just want to celebrate her. Good for her.
Absolutely.
And it's perfect because it goes right as what we brought up, which was we spent this beautiful 48 minutes really talking about what does pruning mean? How does it mean for us in our personal, life? How is it in our professional life? The importance of mindset always. But Hal, I think you perfectly said it, which is, we have an opportunity. I call, we're clearing the obstacles. I kind of came up with that title, right? Which is the circumstances, whatever you want to call them. We're all coming up with shifting that perspective. I stand for people, like truly stand for you all to see these obstacles, circumstances, whatever you want to call them, as your allies. And that is something that isn't easy. They are not your adversaries. They're your allies with an opportunity to clear that path exactly to find your way, to find out who, like Raquel was saying, she really is, who I really am, who Hal really is, who Chrissy really is. And then it goes out there into then how do we fulfill whatever we know ourselves to be? And it's ever growing, ever evolving. And how do we go out there and fulfill on that, right? And make that impact that we want in the world. So it is so amazing to have you, Hal. It's like a nugget. Hi, Sharon. Thanks for being here. Rock, bring us home. And then we're ready to say thanks for being here.
Well, I want to send prayers to all those in the area that's in the path of that storm, hurricane, that it'll diminish by the
Thank you.
time it reaches land.
Power of
So
prayer.
definitely sending you lots of prayers, sis, you and your family. I have family in Florida, all of them. Absolutely love you guys, and we got this. The other thing I just want to quickly say is this: every single person in the world has a purpose. We all have a purpose. It is incumbent upon us to find out, discover, uncover our purpose. And our purpose comes through assignments that we have.
Mm.
I know my purpose is to educate and build. I now say my purpose is to build people. And how I do that, my assignment right now is I teach university level. That's my assignment. but we also have to know when our assignment is over and when we're moving to another assignment, because when we try to stay in the current assignment that we should be moving on from, what we're doing is not just hindering ourselves, we're hindering someone that's coming behind us who should be going into that slot, that assignment. Then they can't fulfill it, and so on and so forth. And that comes in with the pruning. If you prune out that thinking like, I have to stay here, this is comfortable, guess what? You are blocking your blessing. You're blocking yourself from moving on to something that is more fruitful. And the word that Christy used was fulfilling. So it's time for us to know what our purpose is and what is our assignment that we're on. And assignments change. Your purpose is there. That's longevity.
Oof. Drop it.
But
Bam.
Hal, thank you so very much. You were always such a blessing when you come on this show. Absolutely. Hal will be back with us later in the month of October, and it'll be a conversation about I'm not saying anything else. That's not what the conversation is about. I'm just not saying anything else. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. We love our listeners. We love the participation. Chrissy, we are so glad. All three of us are so glad that you found something fulfilling to do. Okay. And as you are fulfilled, you get to pour into others and share it. So we thank you for sharing that with us tonight. Thank you for coming on, Sharon. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, always together we can rise and thrive. Till next time.
With peace, love, unity, and compassion. Time to bust this out and start this power.